Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Zach the Russian, and today I'm having an interview with my beautiful Ukrainian friend Anastasia. She is an extremely cool volunteer and activist for Ukraine here in South Carolina, Myrtle Beach. And today we're gonna discuss activism, your thoughts on Americans reacting to this conflict, and about what Americans can do to help Ukraine. But before we start, I want to say that there is a fundraiser right now for Ukrainian army. Anastasia is going to tell you a bit about it a little bit later. But for now, let's go to the questions. Anastasia, tell me and my viewers a little bit about yourself. Tell me, how did you end up in the US? From what part of Ukraine are you from? And just a little bit introductory so people would know who you are.
Well, first of all, I'm honored to be a guest on your channel. I respect your work, being so young and so brave. It's incredible. And you're being a wonderful example to many people, not only Russian people, but people in the world, that unfortunately it always would take some bravery to say the truth. And you're doing it. So thank you so much for having me on your channel. But I'm originally from Poltava. It's a central part of Ukraine. And my 4 years in college I spent in Kharkiv, second biggest city in Ukraine. And even living back then in Ukraine, it was 2012, 2011. We were already back then protesting Yanukovych. And then in 2013, I came to United States, straight to Myrtle Beach, on a J1, as a J1 student, on J1 visa, and I stayed after. And well, this year has been 10 years since I moved to US.
Pauses.
Yay!
What do you do in the US? I know that you are dancing. And you teach people how to dance, and I've seen a couple of videos. You dance really beautifully.
Thank you.
That's really cool. So you can tell a little bit about itself.
Thank you very much. When I was living in Ukraine, I was a competitive ballroom dancer, and then I moved to US, and it took a few years for me to learn English, basically, and start speaking and make sure that people can understand me. And I started teaching here, and now I teach kids and adults how to ballroom dance. Yes, and
Nice.
I love what I do.
Nice.
You're more than welcome to come to classes, finally.
Sure,
Yeah.
That's going to be another rubric. There's going to be another rubric on the channel. You are a great volunteer for Ukraine. Actually, the way how we met each other is through my aunt. So once the war started, you guys created an organization. Was it called?
World for Ukraine.
World for Ukraine, yes. And I remember you were looking for young Russians who left to interview them about the war. And I was, I think, one of the first people to be interviewed, and it was really emotional. I was in a hostel in Baku, Azerbaijan, the very first days after I left, after the protests in Russia. And I remember we were having this interview. It was really emotional. I cried, you guys cried. It was just really something. Can you just tell me about this whole project, World for Ukraine? How did you start it? How did you team up with other people? Just about the project itself.
Very good question. 2 years ago, February 24th, was the scariest day of my life, and the scariest day for many people, as we know. And on the first day of February 24th, I made an announcement that we are going in the streets and we're going to protest this act of terrorism from Russia. And we went on the street. That day we made huge Ukrainian flag and we were just marching through the city. But we didn't have too many people with us then. And then in 2 days I organized another protest here locally, and we already had very big group of people. And we got together with a lot of Ukrainian flags, connecting. And we needed to do something. We needed to be heard. And at that point, the fear of losing my family due to bombing or whatever could happen there, it was unpredictable, unknown. And I just felt that if I'm not going to do anything, I'm just going to lose my mind completely. In few days after that, I understood that my personal resources were exhausted because I sent all my savings already at that point to Ukraine. A lot of my friends, family members went to fight, so they needed a lot of equipment, and it would take a lot of finances. So, and majority of Ukrainians did the same thing. So we needed some additional support, and opening a nonprofit was a solution for that. And we opened a nonprofit called World for Ukraine, which was incredible experience, and we were very productive. I was very still hopeful to reach hearts of some Russian citizens. And we were making posts, tagging a lot of, I was tagging a lot of my Russian friends, ex-friends. I was making calls, asking for their support, active vocal support, and I personally wasn't getting many responses, and actually some of them were asking me to understand their position, which I answered them straight to their faces that I will never accept their position. But we were still hopeful, and we were hopeful to find some hearts and some brains who understand the truth and who's not denying the truth. And that was the magic moment when I met you. And I'm grateful, and I'm grateful for your work. Definitely, that interview was very emotional for me, and then we did it with Stan, so it was very emotional for all of us. And even it didn't give us too much hope, but it was refreshing to hear about your story. And hear about your awareness, and it was very refreshing to hear an intelligent opinion on the situation.
So you mentioned that your Russian friends here in Myrtle Beach, I guess, in the U.S., to whom you reached out, they said that so you would understand their position. And what was their position? What were they saying? I'm really curious.
Well, luckily, I didn't get too many of those conversations, and until today, I'm trying to eliminate any possibilities to have conversations like that with those people. For example, for our second protest, which was February 26th, 2 years ago, 2022. I was posting on Facebook, everywhere on social media, every platform that I had, and making phone calls to my ex-friends. And they were saying that they are scared to come out on the streets and protest with us because we are aggressive Ukrainians and we're gonna create conflicts, and it's going to be dangerous to their health and lives, which didn't make any sense. And I had a conversation with them. You know me, you know that I'm a peaceful person, you know that I'm a loving person, and I'm going to be standing there. If somebody will try to hurt you, I'm going to be standing there first, trying to protect you. But we need your voices, and we need your presence saying that you're not supporting this, that you're against this, that you want for your friends and families to go on the streets, like Ukrainians did on Maidan. Revolution of Dignity. Nobody of them came, except some people. They are still wonderful friends of mine who are Russian until today, and from the first day, the same like your aunt. We're wonderful friends, and they've been standing very strong with us, with the Ukrainian community, without any fear that we're gonna hurt them. So then we had another big protest going on, and group of Russian community came out, and they were standing all together, kind of teaming up, which it also didn't make any sense. And they printed some posters saying "for peace," which at that moment, I wasn't able to read it through, but today, of course, we understand it. And some of those people are still keeping Russian flags on their houses and proudly post that they're, Russian. And whenever I had a conversation with them about things like that, they said that. They were very defensive and kind of aggressive. So I'm not reaching out to them anymore because I'm knocking in a closed door.
I agree. Like, it's total nonsense when they say it is unsafe to come to Ukrainian rallies, because I mean, I've been to one of the kind of like a rallies you organized on the Independence Day in Ukraine since I got here in the US in August, and everybody who asked me, like, because they would assume I'm Ukrainian, and once I'm saying I'm Russian, but I'm not supporting this war, everybody would treat me absolutely fine. I had no problems, no conflicts. Nobody would give me like a weird look or something. And I've talked to the same Ukrainians in Georgia, and when I was living there, and it was totally fine. So I feel like this fear, not fear, but even it's just an excuse, in my opinion, just to say they will not feel safe, and it's part of this. Kind of like Russian propaganda narrative, and then your brain, like, all the Ukrainians are crazy and like Nazis and stuff. So yeah, it's kind of sad, to be honest. Yeah, can you tell me a little bit about maybe your family right now in Ukraine? I know that you have your brother who is fighting right now at the front lines, and I know that you made a couple of fundraisers to help him buy gear and ammunition to fight Russian aggression. Can you tell about like how he's doing and just about him?
I actually have couple brothers on the front line right now, and some wonderful friends who are like brothers to me, also fighting there. But my parents live still in my city, work hard. Mama is teaching kids out of bomb shelters, but they're still studying, and that's wonderful. Have you ever heard about Vasil Stus?
Not sure.
I'll need to send you some information. And it's a great example of how dangerous it is to fight Russian aggression, Russian just terrorism. It is dangerous, and everybody who knows history at least a little bit understand for how long it's all been going on. And that's our dissident who was killed in one of the Russian camps, but extremely talented poet and writer and Ukrainian patriot. But it's just a little example that we all have to make the decision to fight every single day. About my brothers, yes, brothers, but they actually my cousins, but we are so close. We basically were raised together. Yes, one is right now flying some birds, let's say that. And I'm very proud of him. He's still working. He has extremely successful business in Ukraine. Yes, and I'm so proud of him making that decision. He's probably one of the most successful people in my family, and he's still right there fighting. He just passed his training, and yes, he's already flying. Yes, and
hopefully he's going to be flying some new birds, F-16 soon.
Well,
hopefully, really hopefully. I really hope for that.
Well, those birds definitely will be flying in Ukraine, but he's not going to be one of those pilots. Yes, which I am staying in contact with some of those pilots, and those are just incredible people. And it's the understanding that we live at the same time with people like that on the same planet, and we breathe the same air is giving me chills, to be honest.
A lot of Americans, I feel like they got kind of getting tired of the conflict. They're getting burned out, and they don't really understand how it is important for them. In my opinion, it is important for them to continue to support Ukraine. So can you explain an American who's watching this video right now and like, nah, I'd better send it to, I don't know, I'll better buy myself something else and not pay those taxes that are going to be sent to Ukraine. Why would I need this? Can you explain to them why do they actually need it and why right now it's more important? If they don't support it right now, they're going to pay a higher price later.
So there are actually a few rumors that are going around that Ukraine is getting blank check. That's wrong. That's a lie, and that's it's all going to waste, and corruption in Ukraine is stealing all the money that America is sending them. So first of all, United States are not sending us just blank check, and United States are not sending us bags of money. It's not how it works. Actually, there's billions of dollars of aid that are being approved here at the government of United States. Are actually almost 80% of those money are staying in United States, because we're actually more interested not in just financial support, but more in the military support. That's what we need. And all this big money are going towards that. Right now, we need some tools to fight Russians with. I'm sorry.
That's life.
Yes, and unfortunately, right now we're losing much more lives than we could have, because we don't have the tools to fight. And for those who think that Russia is not going to go further if they win this war in Ukraine, are being extremely naive. Without offense, it's very simple to see. Whenever you read some history, or you watch some videos, historical videos, or you're listening to some podcasts, there's tendency how just dictatorship works in the world. It doesn't have to be just Russia, but they're not going to stop. As soon as they cross Ukrainian border, there is NATO. That's it. United States will have to be involved in this. And then this little expenses that America has on a big scale going to be nothing compared to what could come. So while we're ready to fight with our bare hands, and hopefully with the help of American guns, machines, jets, whatever it takes really to protect people's lives, I believe that it's worth it. And actually, the fact that United States is sending us a lot of military supply, it creates a lot of jobs here in United States. So it brings some money to United States and bringing back to American citizens' pockets. So actually, it's working out well for America and American economy, and people deserve to know the truth and not just Russian propaganda or political game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Thank you. Can you explain to my viewers what they can do as an American citizens, how they can affect political decisions which are being made about the financial aid towards Ukraine?
I completely understand that not everybody want to send some money to some stranger, which if you do send money to this stranger, I would really appreciate you. But you can do a lot even without that. Your posts on social media matter. Social media is being pretty powerful, and it does affect people. There could be some fights, and somebody don't like it. It's okay. You need to be prepared for that, but you're going to bring some truth to the world. So share a lot of positive Ukrainian content. That's very important. And number one priority is talking to your representatives. It would literally take you under 5 minutes to make a phone call to your local office, to your senator's office, or to your congressman's office, and just tell them we want for you to vote for Ukrainian supplemental bill. We want for you to vote for that, and if you do that, we might support you during next election. And that's the truth. If they're voting against it, what values are they standing for, standing behind? So it's very important to be vocal and make sure that your representatives know that you care and that you're standing with Ukraine, because we all see what's happening right now on the Hill there in DC. It's a chaos. I understand that all those political games, we don't understand much what's happening behind the scenes, but they need to hear us. And because all the chaos is happening, they need to hear us more, twice more. So we need to be louder in a good way, intelligent, loud. So it's all in your hands. If you can invest under 5 minutes of your time to make that phone call or write an email or do both, would make an incredible impact in this situation. Oh, now I have the microphone. And for you to see more, to understand more, to feel more, there's a movie called 20 Days in Mariupol. It's right now on YouTube. It's free for everybody, so you can watch it. And for me, it was very awakening. Even I was watching, I was on the news every single day whenever, our warriors were still there, occupied on Azovstal, and the whole city was tragically destroyed. But to see those videos, to see this movie, this documentary is going to change your life. I would suggest don't watch it with your kids and be prepared to cry, but it's important for everybody in the world to see it, to know it, and to share this truth with the world. And thank you so much. Boychko.
Hello?
Алло.
Hello.
Oh, hello. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine. Знову пересете.
Добре. Слухай, питання. Я тут зараз в одному проєкті приймаю участь, і вони хочуть поширити якийсь збір. Ну, ти перший в мене, звичайно. Давай на реби поширимо збір.
Давай.
Давай?
Давай.
Окей.
Я ось дивись, 18 числа я, маю забрати ремонтомобіль, вже там відзвітую, відео зніму, фото,
Супер.
це все. І потім очолю збір на реп.
Супер. Супер. Тоді я зараз скажу, що є такий збір, і посилання буде в описі під відео, і тоді ти мені скинеш всю інформацію.
Nice.
That's the person. I never met him in my life in person.
Really?
Can you imagine? But I trust him more than I trust myself. That's just he's going to be a godfather for my kids 100%, and I'm going to be a godmother for his next kid. He already has 2 sons.
Oh, wow.
And a beautiful wife, and he's on the front line for 2 years and making it work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he just became an officer.
Oh,
So
nice.
yes,
Congrats.
I'm very, very proud of him. And we're calling each other brother and sister, and just in touch the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But this person, Kazaki.
Yep.
This is the person.
Mm-hmm.
Brave, funny, honest.
So Anastasia just had a conversation with her brother, and she really wanted to reach out to her brother to know what exactly do they need at the battlefront, because we just don't want to fundraise money for a no purpose, and then we want for you to know where the money is going. So what are we fundraising money, Anastasia?
So we're going to fundraise for anti-drone systems. If we can actually buy one, it would be wonderful. We just found out the price in Ukraine is 200,000 hryvnias, and in US dollars it would be almost $5,500. So whatever you can, it would save lives for sure. And this is the person who I trust with all my heart, for sure. I know whenever I donate money, I want to know for who specifically I donate and what exactly they need and how they're going to use it. So they are on the front line. And these people are incredibly brave and honest. And I can guarantee you that.
Yes, guys, there's going to be a link in the description below to a PayPal of Anastasia's brother. And also there's going to be, it's going to be pinned in the comment, in the top comment. So please make sure to go and donate as much as you can. It doesn't have to be thousands of dollars, but even a little bit amount can actually change and save someone's life from this Russian aggression. All right, Anastasia, it was an extremely great interview. Thank you so much for agreeing to talk to me, because I felt really that you are a really unique person who is one of the most vocal activists for Ukraine here among all of them, all of the people I've met. So it was really a pleasure, and I wish, this war is going to be ending soon. Ukraine is going to restore its territories, because I see the struggle, like you're emotional every time we see each other, like in common settings, you always care about it. It's like always in your head. I can see this, and I really hope that it's going to end sooner or later and with a good result.